السلام عليكم كيفكم يا جماعة? So I want to speak about Jordanian winters before the winter is over. I actually wanted to film this 2 weeks ago when we had a really bad spell of weather and like half of Amman was flooded. It was like Noah's Ark. Wast al-Balad was completely destroyed and it was really awful couple of days. And during that time I had thought I want to speak about how much I dislike winter in Jordan at certain points. Like obviously there are some really good points to winter here because there's sun, and if you're actually standing in the sun or you have it touching your face like I do now, it's really nice, but generally it's a bit miserable. The biggest reason is that the houses aren't built for this kind of weather. There's no insulation. If you watch a house being built, it's really shocking, especially if you come from somewhere European where they take building structures really seriously and they're meant to last, whereas here they go up and they come down really fast. So you see that they don't have proper insulation, they don't have ceiling, roof insulation. The windows might be double glazed like ours, but they're not fitted well, or like ours are metal. So that doesn't insulate shit. The cold just comes straight through. And actually we've got these things called epigeurs, which are like shutters that come down to block out the sun during the summer, which is fantastic. It's like blackout blinds. But they have a box that they live in above the window, and then all the cold air, when the epigeur is down, all the cold air rushes into the empty box, and which is made of wood, and comes straight into the room, which is just like, hello. Most houses don't have proper central heating, but what I have found that even the houses that do have central heating, it never works properly. It either doesn't work properly or it makes absolutely no difference to have it on. So we've got a heater, a radiator in every single room, and you don't feel it. You don't notice that it's on, and it's on like the hottest setting. And especially when you've got a child running in and out and you can't keep the doors shut, there's just no way of keeping the place warm. So it's freezing. And also, actually, while I'm talking about the way that houses are built, most houses suffer with damp, but like severe damp, where you touch the walls and like your hands are wet. My first winter in Jordan, I had my laptop for most of the winter leaning against the wall when I wasn't using it. I was like standing it up and leaning it against the wall next to my bed. Didn't think anything of it. And it got such bad water damage that when we sent it away to get fixed, they didn't believe that I hadn't poured water on it. Like, they legitimately thought I was lying. So yeah, staying warm in Jordan in the winter is really, it's hard work. And what most people end up doing is heating their homes with kerosene heaters, or what they call Soba. And these heaters are stinky and they are dirty, and you have to fill them up with this kerosene every single day, which is a whole other ball game in itself. It's just awful. If that stuff leaks, it's a disaster. You have to go down to the petrol station, fill up your canister, and then bring it back to the house and fill up your soba. And it always leaks. It doesn't matter how many bin liners you wrap that in, the canister is going to leak, always. And if you get a bad attendant at the petrol station and they don't care, they'll fill it right up to the top, or they'll just spill it over the sides and everything, and that shit does not come out of the car. So what I've noticed, this is our second winter in our house, in our new house, and I don't think anybody lived here before, or they lived here, there was like 3 months before, so it was very clean and pristine when we first got here. They didn't even need to repaint, and I remember that the walls were perfectly white. Well, now I look around and it's just depressing. There's just like kerosene soot everywhere. And when you see houses that have got kerosene soot and damp, then you see like they've got drips coming down the walls, like black drips. It's awful. It's so bad. Oh, and the other thing about kerosene, while I'm on a rant, it's flammable. So when it leaks everywhere, It's really, really dangerous. But what are you going to do? There's nothing that you can do. Like, that's just the reality of living here. Unless, I mean, there are people who have got budgets that can afford to have underfloor heating and radiators that work, and they have proper insulation, and they invest in all of these things, which I'm sure that we will when we own our own house. But, you know, the majority of the people that live here don't have those luxuries, and it's just a fact of life that in Jordan in winter you bunker down. And that's something that's kind of nice about winters here. I feel like it's the Jordanian hygge. Did I say that right? Or is it like hygge? Hygge. Sorry, Denmark. So yeah, the Jordanians have got this thing where they kind of bunker down in the winter, and you'll notice that the epigeurs, these shutters, they kind of tend to stay halfway down most of the winter. People go out a lot less. You'll find that often children's playing areas or parks are closed, which can feel quite limiting in some ways. And you definitely get all the expats complaining like, oh, it's not even bad weather outside and the park's closed, like why? But it's just kind of part of the culture. And they do it in the summer as well, like in the peak of summer. Why go out and get fried like an egg? So it kind of does make sense to respond to the weather that you're dealing with. But in the UK, we tend to power through it. You just carry on life as normal. It's not going to stop you from doing anything. You're not constantly saying, when the spring comes or when summer comes, we'll do this and this, which we are always saying. So yeah, people want to stay in the house a lot more. They want to be cozy. They get out their big blankets. So every Jordanian home, I'm going to do a video on Jordanian homes, what you find in Jordanian homes. Every Jordanian home has got this pile of blankets somewhere in the house. We've got, I will show you, but it's a mess. We've got a tiny, like, mini version of this, but like, you go to a proper family house and they've got them stacked right up to the ceiling. There's a word for it. Yeah, if you remember, if you know what the word is, then tell me. So they get out these huge blankets, and every bed has got like 4 of these really thick blankets. Here's one of them. These really thick, and they're always really ugly. They're just like notoriously awful colours. This one's really pretty actually. Yeah, so when you get into bed you feel like you're being suffocated. Duvets are definitely the way to go. So yeah, people just kind of bunker down during winter, and I feel like that's probably quite a natural and mindful thing to do. Oh, one thing that's really awesome about winter in Jordan is that there's different kinds of sweets and different kinds of food that you have that's just like specialised for the cold weather. So sahleb is a dessert that you have, and mahalabiya, so you can look forward to that all year round, that you can have some sahleb. It's like the Arab version of hot chocolate, I suppose. Jordan's got really unpredictable weather, and I don't think that this is like a long-standing thing. I feel like this is climate change from what people tell me. They're not used to the extreme summers where there's like 35-40 degree heat, and equally they're not used to the extreme winters where it's snowing in the deserts. But when extreme weather does happen here, there's no infrastructure to deal with it, so the streets just flood. Something that is really handy with this unpredictable weather that we don't have in the UK is that the police will send a text directly to your phone to say beware of the weather, and they'll say like, don't go out. Of course, if you don't have a registered number in Jordan, I don't know how you find out about stuff, but yeah. But winter is over, alhamdulillah, and life can resume as normal. So happy. Spring in Jordan is like the best. It's glorious. I'm going to put out a video about our first spring trip soon, because we've already been on our spring trip, and I'm filming my winter video after I did my... It's still winter, technically. But tell me what you do to survive in the cold winter months in Jordan, and tell me what you're looking forward to for the spring and where you're going to go for the spring. I am super excited to go to Qais if the weather permits before the baby comes along. That's what we're going to be doing, because it is gorgeous there. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel and see where it takes me, and the support is awesome. So, ma salama.